bits of business information. Zabu is a platform by Altex East Africa. Zabu says, my money, my future. So you can use your money to grow bigger and grow into an evolving business person. With a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can invest in any bond and security. You dial *292# for the MTN subscribers, and then you're ready to hit the markets and invest in as much as you want. Well, the markets do open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. That is on a daily. These particular ones are closed during weekends, so it's only open during working days, Monday to Friday, and the other time, weekends and during public holidays, these markets are closed. So that is a wide opportunity for you to invest in more of the bonds and securities in regards to the Zabu platform. Zabu says, my money, my future. Altex East Africa tells you to do something new. Do something new for your business, do something new for your life, and you can see an evolvement and a growth of you and your business. And well, of course, this particular situation, we're going on ground with Beriti Andrew, and we are discussing more of the state of e-commerce in the country. Where is it? Where is it heading? And how important will it be to Uganda's economy?
All right, thank you very much, Jerome Paul Sunko. And of course, today we are discussing the aspect of the state of e-commerce in Uganda. And of course, I happened to do a survey a little bit, meeting out some few traders in so many places, and we are trying to discuss how best they can actually really promote their businesses online. You know, when we talk about e-commerce, what comes in the minds of the people majorly is probably the most popular e-commerce platforms, but it's way bigger than that. It comes back to so many areas because that I will tell you that all social media platforms or whatever websites, it's all e-commerce, regardless of the famous ones, which you already know as a Ugandan out there. Of course, some already international and some operate locally largely. So it's way bigger than that. And you find that majority of the traders actually would prefer to do business the traditional way, and of course due to quite a number of reasons. First of all, before I get further into this, let me talk about what most of the traders, the reasons why they give regarding why they are not in position to actually engage in the e-commerce in Uganda today. And one of the reasons they talked about was the internet. They talked about the internet rates being very high and the fact that they really find it hard to pursue this line of business. Now, for example, one person told me, sometimes I load these internet bundles of this amount of money, but before I know it, they are really expired. And this person is thinking that means I need a bigger bundle to ensure that I can sustain this. So in that way, they found it a little bit quite unreliable. And I also happened to get in other people's opinions, and they were talking about that they actually don't know how to use these social media platforms. For example, majority of the people which were familiar with Facebook, but we know that this site was locked ever since the previous election, still today. And of course, others access it with VPN, and using VPN will call for extra data charges. So still you can see that the bot still doesn't balance up very well, and you find that you really have to definitely incur more charges. So for that reason, they feel like they are not in position to ensure that they carry out the e-commerce. So education, you know, the Facebook blocked, the Twitter, which is available, some don't know even how to post. So they are saying the lack of education is largely causing the fact that they are not in position to engage in the e-commerce platforms. And we have some other, so many e-commerce platforms, you know, social media platforms, Instagram. I mean, not so many Ugandans. Of course, now we are talking about a local trader down, and this time around, we are a local trader trying to be put into this picture of using the social media. And also some say that what they sell is not really, it's not relevant to put it online, you know, according to them. You know, for example, somebody tells you, hey, I'm trading in probably agriculture related products, you know, but still I happen to get in touch with some innovators right there that formed a platform which can enable like an e-commerce sort of platform for agriculture related products, you know. So you can see always on all aspects there is a way out as the people into the innovators trying to do whatever it takes to ensure that they put things right. And others talked about internet speed. The bandwidth is not really stable. Yes, you find that actually some time back, I remember I happened to be in some arcade down, and the traders could actually tell you that when you're down here, there is no way the internet can actually work, you know, unless you have to go look for the network up there. And that means during day, you won't be in position to actually access your customers right there. So you can see that's quite a great hindrance. You know, bandwidth, internet charges being so high, talking about education. And also some people think that e-commerce is not yet there. It's not so many Ugandans. But still, according to the report, it shows that a number of Ugandans are in position to actually acquire smartphones on a daily basis. And we believe that could be a breakthrough potential for the e-commerce in Uganda, you know. So you can see quite so many aspects right there. Still, the innovators have not sat regarding that. Different innovators in Uganda have come up to form e-commerce platforms to ensure that they are in position to connect Ugandans that are not in position probably to get to be connected to the traditional known e-commerce platforms, to have access to those platforms, and it's free of charge. You know, students are coming up with innovations regarding the e-commerce. Remember, the COVID-19 pandemic was quite a great eye-opener to the different Ugandans out there. Yes, you realize that majority got to understand that sometimes there is a time where the physical meeting up with the people is not really valuable, and you need to ensure that you have your presence online. There is a quote, one of the famous business quotes that talks about growing your online presence as a business. When we talk about e-commerce, there are businesses which actually they may not particularly involve themselves on having e-commerce platforms, but they design websites. So you can see that is very important right there. You can actually design yourself a website, or you get a web designer, they design for you at a cheaper rate, and in that way you will be in position to actually promote your goods online. Why online? Sorry. There is a way people take businesses seriously when they see an online presence, because we know consumers in this world, we all have different tastes and preferences, and 80% of the consumers in the world, not just in Uganda, they always take a business seriously when they see some sort of online presence. So they develop what we call a brand, a royalty. So in that aspect, they are going to be in position to really take your business serious, and they are going to come and support you, regardless even of the products that you actually put there. Because I will tell you, if you witness this, that some of the products that are sold on some of the known e-commerce platforms, still we've heard about the traders complaining that, the customers that buy these consumers, that they are not like what they present them. They present to you something else, but they see something else. But at the end of the day, the customer has still bought the item. So you can see that's the state where we lie as a country, Uganda, regarding e-commerce. I mean, there is a little bit of low adaptation of e-commerce in Uganda, but it's coming up. Yes, there is a rise, there is a future, and of course, come the years 2022, there we're in to 2030, the revenues are estimated to keep on increasing, like the ones earned from the e-commerce platforms. But that still takes a certain aggressive act, of course, by the business people that's in Uganda, to ensure that they be a part of the move. Remember, with the innovations that are emerging on a daily basis, it calls for being updated as a business personnel right there. And now, talking about e-commerce, there is a bigger picture of the East African community. Yes, and probably one of the ways you will be in position to access the foreign markets will be only the e-commerce. So you can see that it's very important that as a trader out there, you participate in evolving in the e-commerce. The African Continental Free Trade Area is around the corner. You know, 2 days back, activities already presumed. So now imagine you take your goods to a foreign country. For example, you may say like, let me take my goods to Zambia, but you don't know what the response of the people is going to be like when they view your goods for the first time. So that's going to be, you're taking a risk. You know, now you travel from Uganda, you go to Zambia, you take your products, but before you know it, you make a loss, and probably nobody wants to relate with your product or brand. But if you had an online presence as a business person, you will be able to know whether people can actually order for these products. You know, there is nothing so interesting like going out to another country when you really know that actually you have something, you have the market there, because you're seeing the response of the people there and they're coming to purchase those products. So that makes it much more viable and much more reliable for you to move. You can invest the money, you can invest that air ticket and you buy it as a trader, and you go meet out to your consumers, to the customers that are actually ordering for these products. So it's very, very important that you have an established online presence. But also there is a question. Having an online presence doesn't put away the fact that you should have, that you shouldn't have a physical store. You know, for example, if somebody probably this might work for diaspora, people like in other countries, you establish a store, probably your business has a store in other countries, that if somebody can order something in that country, you don't have to travel there, but because you have an agent there, you are in position to actually get in touch with that agent, and they will be in position to deliver that product to the customer right there. So you can see it's all made much more easy with e-commerce. It's very amazing. You know, I've been walking around so many places, and I happen to be a fan of technology. And now today in Uganda, we have people that are developing e-commerce platforms, but this time around, these platforms are just specialized platforms. They deal in specific items, you know. And this is an idea that was copied from China, simply because when we have e-commerce platforms flooded with so many products, it's going to reduce on the efficiency of the person that, of course, if you're distributing your products right there. But when you design like a platform which has specific items, for example, if I want to get beauty products, I know where to get them from. If I want to get gym materials, I know where to get them from. If I know where to get cosmetics, it could be electronics, there is a specific e-commerce platform where I can actually get these particular products. That is going to be very essential and very helpful for the consumer right there to make a choice. So that would be something that I would urge business people right there to ensure that they put into mind of establishing their products on specialized e-commerce platforms. That's how it's working in China, because they realize that it's not possible for you to have a platform and it's operating various items. Definitely, that's why, yes, it comes back to the point I said earlier, that the customers say that what they put on the website doesn't totally display with what you get the physical good. Why? There is quite a lot, a lot of adverts, a lot of products that are coming in, so there is quite high competition. And of course, majority of the people really care about maximizing sales. They don't mind about the quality. So that is why you see that. But when we have specialized e-commerce platforms, that is going to be something very, very important. And of course, we know that there is a growing demand for internet-related services, promotion of IT in Uganda. So as a trader out there, don't be left out, Don't be left out part of this revolution. Uganda is undergoing an IT revolution. Quite a lot of foreign companies are coming in to sponsor innovations which are heading to the e-commerce platform. There are students at one of the universities in Uganda that were in position to partner with a French-based food kind of franchise, and this came as a result of them inventing the e-commerce platform, which is actually making good sales for them right there at the campus premises, So you see that it's something very, very important. And why? These people invented an e-commerce platform that had specialized equipment. So you can see how important and the potential of e-commerce to develop the country. So that's what the traders are saying. In summary, they say internet charges, slow internet, education. So they need to be educated on how they can actually use this particular platform. So that is something, probably a message towards the government to find ways you can actually empower these traders to know that they actually need to go online to be in position to trade, you know. But still, I know of traders, despite the complaints that they put, that actually their business life changed as a result of embracing e-commerce. Yes, you find that actually the cost of production reduced. You know, talking about why e-commerce, because if you have a physical shop, you have to pay for the rent, you have to pay for, of course, their taxes, URA taxes, you have to pay for them. So you find that those are extra expenses. But when you do e-commerce, it's no rent. Your shop is online. The only expense you have is data. So if the traders say that data is a problem, let them think about the expenses that they incur when they are renting in those shops. So that's quite something for you to think about as a trader, why you really fear to embrace e-commerce. Yes, I'm Andrew Barije, and this is Smart Means Business on Ground. Today the discussion has been strictly about e-commerce, based on the research I did a few days ago. Back to studio with Joram Paul Sonko.
All right. And with that particular one, you get to realize that Barija Andrew has been giving you some simple analysis on the e-commerce sector and how it is growing in the country, the importance, and when you also look at the fact that a number of investors and a number of business people are already minding about engaging in various business aspects that happen across the internet space. So if you're out there and you're someone who's actually enthusiastic about joining this space, you can as well take it on. It is something that will be very helpful and important for you as you grow in one way or the other. Now, speaking of which, let's get into our SMB Insight. The insight this time around looks greatly at the standard gauge rary, as you're going to want to transition from the meter gauge rary to the standard gauge rary, which will be more efficient and faster for the transportation of goods and as well as to ease transportation in the country.
Facing today are the youth, and I can